Yo, what's up, guys? So today is a continuation on a series called Card College. If you missed part one, I'll leave a link down below to a video to where you can watch that one. Before we go any further, I want to say that last week wasn't actually chapter 1, it was just part 1, because chapter 1 Card College Volume 1 is just like how to hold cards, how to have a pinky break, things we all know. So technically it was chapter 2, so today we're doing chapter 3, False Cuts. Let's go! Alright, so let's take a look at the false cuts from Card College Volume 1. Alright, so just as a precursor, Roberto does state in the book that these cuts are meant to be made while the spectator is not, focusing on what you're doing with your hands. So in other words, you are doing these cuts as you're talking to them, making eye contact. All right, so these cuts are not meant to be made as if you're trying to display a cut. All right, so you're not saying, look, we'll cut the cards, and you don't want to put focus on these cuts. Instead, they're meant to be made with eye contact and misdirection as you're talking and performing. So having said that, our top card in all these cases will be the Ace of Spades, so we can know that it's a false cut. All right, so what we're going to do, the first false cut is the optical false cut, and that is a false cut which retains the top card. Or a top stock, it's up to you, but here's what happens. So it's meant to look like this, and then that's a real cut, but the false cut looks like this. Now you may have seen what's happening on camera, but like I said, when you're talking to somebody, they're not going to know where that packet came from, all right? So especially if you're making eye contact, they're not going to know where that packet, it just looks like you're cutting the deck, all right? So what happens is you just cut from the bottom, all right? So you're in Hindu shuffle position, and your finger is on top of the deck like this, and you just cut the deck from the bottom and put it on the table like this, and snap that top portion back right where it came from. All right, so that's the optical false cut, meant to be made with misdirection, like that. So next we have the false swing cut, or also known as the Bobby Bernard false cut. So it looks like this. Again, we have the Ace of Spades on top, and we'll lose that card somewhere in the middle of the deck like this. Although I cut the deck, it's still on top. So here's what happens, all right? So what you're gonna do is do a swing cut, normally like this, although you would normally slap the packet on top like this. What's gonna happen is you tap the side like this and just drop that on the table. That's the original bottom half. Then you just put these back in biddle grip and drop those on top, which looks and sounds like a cut, but it's a false cut. So these false cuts, were also meant to be made after a shuffle retaining the cards that you need to keep control of. So in this case, we had the Ace of Spades, and you can do this false overhand shuffle that I taught in the last installment, which retains that on the top. All right, so after you've done that, you immediately go into that Bernard cut, because a cut just feels nice after a shuffle, right? So to the spectator, you've obviously just shuffled and cut the deck, but your target card is on top the whole time. So next we have the triple false cut, also known as the JOC false cut. All right, so it looks like this. We just make a few cuts like this, and just put them back together like this. And even though I did all that, the top card is still on top. But not only is that a top card retention, that's a whole deck retention. So this is pretty self-explanatory. You just take off about a third of the deck, put it there, take off another third, half of these remaining, put it there, put the remaining right there. Now you just pick up the original top portion like this, put it there, just stack them up like this, and it's a false cut. Now the cool thing about this, the crazy thing about this, is that doing it wrong feels right, but doing it right feels wrong. So in other words, that feels good. If I actually cut the deck doing this, it would feel wrong like this. That feels like a false cut, even though that's a real cut. That feels like something I'm doing something silly, and nobody really knows why this phenomenon is there. But John Bannon points out, he has a theory that it feels like this cut where you take packets like this and then you assemble them like that. He feels as though it feels the same, which I agree with that. It's a very good theory because a lot of people, when you have a spectator cut the deck in 3 piles, they do this, and then if you stack them up, that's a real cut. So that Joc cut feels like that. Now, sometimes when I do this, I make it a little bit more loose and kind of natural, because if you do this, try to get precise squared packets, it can sometimes look like you're trying to do something, magician-y. But if you just do it like in sloppy packets like this, like you don't care about what's happening, it looks a little bit like the deck is being mixed, like you don't care about it. And you can even have the spectator do this themselves. Just hand them the deck and say, look, cut about a third of the deck there. They do that. You just coach them through what to do. And they're so focused on doing what you're telling them to do that they're not going to know that they just false cut the deck. I mean, what is a false cut to them? They don't even know what a false cut is. So obviously there's a time delay that has to happen. So you can, focus, you can mention a prediction, or you can mention, you cut the deck in 3 piles, whatever you're going to do to make a time delay, and then revert back to it. So just stack them back up, like this, and they'll do that, and they'll never know that it's a false cut. Now, if it's only a stack on top, maybe, like a little setup on top, like 12 cards or so, or even the top card, couple cards that you want to keep control of, and the rest of that don't matter, you can have them do what's called the Joc Shuffled Cut, which is this. Say, look, cut about a third of the deck there, and you know what? Go and shuffle the deck. And so they do that, and then they cut another packet there, shuffle some more. And then when you ask them to stack them back up, they will never remember that the first cut was not shuffled. So later you can frame it as, remember, you cut and shuffled the deck. I had no control of that. And it's just, when you say stuff like that, even though it's kind of true, it's not. You're just lying to them, and they believe it. And that's kind of, it's a bittersweet thing to be a magician sometimes. So here are some tricks we can do with those false cuts, all right? So before we begin, I will take out a few predictions, all right? So for things to come, all right? So let's see. Maybe this one, maybe, I think that one feels right. Maybe one more, I think we'll be fine. Maybe this one, all right? So we'll lay those cards down just like this. And do me a favor, take the deck and give us some cuts and shuffles, all right? So at this point, you will lead them through the spectator shuffle OC cut. So they do this, cut a packet, shuffle, cut a packet, shuffle, cut a packet, stack them up. All right, so now you take the deck back and you just make some cuts, all right? So maybe we'll do this one like this. Maybe next we'll do cut some cards like this, just like how you did it. And maybe that one there. Let's do one more cut. I think that will be the final card to use. Now, I took these predictions out before you shuffle the deck, and I just cut to some random cards from the deck that you shuffled. So let's take a look at this card here. Red queen that matches the other red queen. This one matches that black 9. And of course, this 2 matches your black 2. Now, you can do this from a shuffled deck, which Roberto suggests in the book, and just by spreading through and noting the 3 top cards and taking out the mates to those top cards as your predictions. But I have a bad memory, and it's just easier for me to have it set up already. So that's what we're going to do. So I just take out some cards, red queen, black 9, red 2. I put them on top like this. I just remember queen 9 2 like this. So I just stack these in the middle somewhere. 2 9 queen. So from top down is queen 9 2 like this. So they're just separated in the deck. Now you can take the deck out and you say that you're going to take out some predictions. So you just look for your 2. You don't let them see this, of course. Take out your 2, put it there. Take out your 9. All right, put it there. Take out your queen and put it there. No, it doesn't say this in the book, but I like to, have a touch of them actually mixing the deck up before they do this. That way the predictions are made more impossible at the end, all right? So they do the spectator shuffled OC cut like this, which retains those 3 top cards like this. So what you're gonna do now It's just 3 consecutive different false cuts to match your predictions, all right? So the first one can be maybe that swing cut or the Bobby Bernard cut, like this, which produces that first red queen. Next one can be that sloppy USA cut that we talked about, like this. And then the third one can be maybe that optical false cut. As you're talking, just do the cut. Just like this, which produces all the matching cards. You just recap, the deck was shuffled, the deck got predictions, and it cuts to some cards which all match. And those should be reversed, but hey, who's counting? Alright guys, so as always, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I really hope you learned something new, and I hope you enjoyed this card college series. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more card college or if I'm just wasting my time. In any case, until next time, I love you guys. Happy practicing.